Michelle.
Hello, Evan Stern. How are you?
I'm doing well, Michelle Milet.
It's so nice to just kind of see you and get to know you. And it's been a really nice 6 weeks of actually connecting with you for the first time. Because obviously, while we were shooting the show, we both had it in our contracts to not speak to each other.
Was Jacob insisted that you and I don't get too close.
No, because they knew it would be electric.
It would be electric. And it was. And the thing is, it was the tour that kind of broke it all down. When we had to share bunk beds. Yeah, and then we were forced to hang out all the time. All the time. But we actually did hang out on set a bit, I guess.
Of course we did. I was thinking about this. I remember Clark. Hi, Clark.
Hi, Clark.
Clark plays Rosie on the show. Beautifully done. She was like, it's interesting that it took us, because I got along with everyone that I'm friends with on the show instantly, but I'm a slow burn. And I didn't realize that until she told me this. She's like, you had to kind of get in a room together. And I was like, yeah, I guess I am. I don't mean to be. Why? I don't mean to be at all.
Yeah. No, you're not like, okay, so one might interpret this as you're very cool. And there's like a little bit of like, no, and it's, I would say, oh God, it's a word that starts with an I. You're intimidating a bit from afar, because you're beautiful and you're the lead of the show. No, it's like this thing, your hazel eyes piercing through the darkness. We see you from afar. Thank you so much. Took you long enough. So we see you and we're intimidated. But the reality is if you're forced into like, let's say a green room with you for any length of time, you're like, you want to do a TikTok together? Like you will.
Yeah. Let's do a skit.
Let's do a skit. It breaks down quick. You're a goof. You're an improv kid at the end of the day.
Yeah.
People don't know that about you though. They see you, they think model. Not true. Improv kid. Dork. Fucking nerd.
Absolute idiot.
I didn't say idiot. But Clark's right. Like you have to kind of be trapped in a room with you and then it's made very aware that you're not intimidating at all.
Well, I mean, we have to remember that when we started filming the show, Vine was still...
Oh my God.
Isn't that crazy?
Is that how long we've been doing the show?
Okay, well, big announcement, everybody. Oh my God. It's 2025, meaning that it's officially 10 years since we started filming Letterkenny. Because we started filming, you can do the math. I assume you're pretty smart. 2015. Isn't that crazy?
It is crazy.
It's officially been 10 years.
Wow.
It's weird because we haven't aged a day.
Yeah, I look exactly the same.
You do.
No, I actually did look at like first season. I mean, we just watched it. I was like, I have the same beard from first season now, but now there's salt and pepper in it.
I like that. Salt and pepper is great. Keep that. Honestly, I love like little gray hairs now, but maybe that's just because I've also I'm just used to seeing it because all my friends are in their 30s.
And you're like, oh, you made it. Yeah, it's nice. I agree with you. I don't think mine's coming in the exact way I want it. Like I would love to look like a silver fox at some point. Right. I'm kind of worried I'm just going to look like more like Rogue from X-Men, just like a splash of white here and there.
Patchy squirrel instead of silver fox.
Excuse me? Patchy squirrel? Did you need to include the animal change?
Yeah, I felt like I needed to round out.
Damn it.
Joke-wise.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I think it is weird though, because it feels like a million years ago in a lot of ways. Like when I look back on my life, what my life was 10 years ago, it's so different than it is now, obviously, but it also feels like a second ago.
Yeah, it was yesterday. It was yesterday that we met in the makeup trailer and we danced.
That's what old people say. They're like,
that is what they say all the time. They're always like, it's gone in a blink of an eye. But at the same time. Yeah, we're old.
Yeah, wow. Well, welcome to 2025. It's so weird. But yeah, I'm just really glad that we have started this podcast because I feel it's weird because we've been friends for so long, but I'm spending more time with you via Zoom than ever before in this way. That's so nice.
It's really nice. I gotta say, I'm like, sometimes I can be accused of being a bit of a, I don't know what the word is, like friend trender. Like there's like kind of like you have a friend who's like your best friend for like a couple weeks or a couple months or a year or something. And then it's not that I switch intentionally. It's just that people move away and interests change. And like, I always thought life was like the television show Friends, where you're just friends with these like 5 people forever. And like that really changes as you grow older and you kind of like realize like people come in and out of your life. This is the kind of thing though that like really cements people. Like you have a job together The job is gone. But then you come back, you're like, oh, I missed you.
Yeah.
Like I missed you.
Totally. I mean, I've been on different sets where you connect with really great people and you love them and it's like such a great experience. But obviously we did Letterkenny for so long that it's a different type of intimacy after a while, but we all kind of instantly clicked in a really specific way that I've never experienced. And I'm realizing now just how rare that is, because not only did we all get along as friends, but the chemistry that we had working together was really special and rare, I think.
Yeah, I think it all comes back to that summer camp thing. It's like when you think of your summer camp friends when you're a kid, and I never went to summer camp, but in my mind.
Did you never go?
No, I never went to summer camp, but in my mind, I've seen so many summer camp movies.
Why did you never go?
We weren't that family. Like, I think my family was like, we didn't have money and they didn't send me to summer camp. They were just like, go outside. That's enough.
Absolutely.
Like, it was never.
Were your parents teachers?
My dad was a teacher and my mom's an artist, a painter.
Okay. Yeah, my mom's a teacher as well. So she has the summer off. So she's like, I don't know. I'm not working full time. I don't need to send my kids away. Yeah.
Yeah. We did have families with like my grandparents had a cottage on Mississippi Lake over in the Ottawa area, MISSI, and they made me spell that all the time. And I loved it. Gorgeous lake, unbelievable lake. I drive by it all the time to get to my in-laws now. And I'm always like, struck with all these memories of being like, these were my summers.
Aww.
Like, and I never, again, learned how to swim in that lake, but I was swimming in it a lot as a kid. And I actually just did my first swim lesson yesterday.
I was going to ask. Okay, what did you do in the water?
Okay, so I thought it was, painting a picture for you. Me wandering around in my Crocs and in my bathing suit in a community center, like squeak, 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 and like being like, where do I take a shower? Where do I lock my clothes? Like, I've never been here. I'm so confused. I feel like a child again.
Yeah.
And yeah, the pool has somebody like a lifeguard bobbing up and down in it. And I'm like, hello?
Help?
Is this Adult Swim 1? Like...
That's so cute.
Yeah, and it is cute. It's just me and two other people. I thought it was going to be kind of like a slow introduction to swimming for all the phobic people out there, like touch the water with your toe. Now put your ankle in. Like I thought that's what it was going to be, but instead she's like, dunk your head 5 times. And I was like, oh shit.
It's like when you see those videos of babies getting just thrown into
that was me. She picked me up and she threw me
and then you bobbed and bobbed and then you flipped and then you could breathe and you're like, I got this.
I can do this. No, it's hard to honestly floating on my back. I felt like the dumbest boy in school. Like I was sinking. My feet were like scorpioning behind me and like almost touching my head. I was so tense. I couldn't relax. She kept being like, spread your legs wider and put your toes like up. And I physically, it was like, like my body was just contorting.
Did she validate that maybe you have the type of bones that are dense? Or is that not a real thing and you know what she said to me? That?
You know what she said to me though? Okay, so there's a super jacked dude in my class, like so big, like he's so muscular and he's like got huge delts, like just huge dude. And she was like, he couldn't float. And she said to him, you know what? Sometimes when you have really heavy leg muscles, like quads, they do sink because of the density of the muscle. And so she didn't say it to me, but I took what she said and I went, I'm jacked. I'm huge.
You're huge.
I'm huge.
It's your muscles are too big.
It's my muscles are too big. It's not that my bones are too dense. It's my muscles are too big.
This makes sense.
Yeah. Pregnant pause.
Yeah, I can see that for sure. Okay, well, hey, I'm glad that you're doing this though. You may not be somebody who like loves to swim, but you want to make sure you're able to comfortably enough and not panic.
I think I'm going to be someone who loves to swim after this.
Really?
Yeah, after the first class, it was only like half an hour, but by the end of it, we learned, front crawl the stroke at least, like how to do it properly. And I was like, I was never doing it properly.
Right.
I was doing this thing where I had to breathe between each stroke, and it always ended up being like me breathing in water because I was rotating my head to try and get more air each stroke. Like, and she was like, you're dying. Like, you have to hold your breath for 3 strokes and then breathe. And I was like, like no one ever told me that.
I don't need to hyperventilate in the water.
That's why I look so crazy in the water, is because I'm freaking out. I am dying. It wasn't good. So I'm already doing way better, and I have, a class every week, and by the end of this, I'm going to be a lifeguard and get paid $14 an hour to work at the pool.
Hey, that's a great living.
Do you remember that when you were a kid, your lifeguard friends making $14 an hour? You were like, oh shit.
Well, because minimum wage was like $8 an hour, right?
Yeah, $6.
What is it now?
Now it's up to like $17.50 or something.
Right.
I know. I was like, $17.50, that's pretty good. Maybe I should get a minimum wage job.
Well, it's not actually because inflation has been so crazy that I think actually a living wage is more like $32 an hour. Well, depending on where you live, of course, but where I live, Victoria, which is an expensive place, it's like cost of living is so high here.
Really? Do you have like rural pay for like, is it like the bananas cost more because they're harder to get there, that kind of thing?
Yes, it's island tax. Like, so all of our groceries have to come in on a ferry boat. It's like,
oh God.
Sometimes I forget that I live on an island, and then I'm like little things where you're just like, oh, if there's a storm, I can't get off the island and things like that.
That's terrifying. That's the scariest thing you've ever said. Do you think of that? You grew up there?
Yeah, I guess I don't know. It's such a big place. I mean, the island, Vancouver Island is as big as the whole country of Portugal. So it's not like it's this tiny little...
weird reference. I don't know how big Portugal is. But at the same time, I kind of get it.
It's a whole entire country.
Yeah,
so it's a small country, but it's like, yeah, so there's cities here and all the resources you could need. So it's like you don't technically need to leave the island, but I'm just hyper aware of if something really crazy happened, we will run out of resources soon. And if the BC ferry shuts down and you don't have a personal boat, you're kind of hooped.
Are you one of those like catastrophists? Like, oh, there's gonna be a giant earthquake and all of British Columbia is gonna get swallowed up? Are you one of those people?
Well, that's not like. That is a fact.
Yeah, but like, so is it. I mean, but it's like a fact, like maybe like in a million billion years it'll happen. Like it's not within
what the data says is that there are 2 plates that have been compressed.
Bert and Ernie.
Sure. And sure. And when they finally jump, because they've been compressed together for so long, the jump is going to be a massive earthquake. So it really could happen tomorrow, or it could happen in another 1,000 years, but it's not going to be a million years.
I guess I'm the type of person who's like so aware of people trying to make money that I just don't believe anyone has like,
I believe insurance companies.
Yeah, I believe people have good. I think everyone individually is a good person. I think collectively we make really poor decisions and we are kind of evil. And the idea of being like, yeah, insurance companies, preppers, like people are making money off of fear all the time. News, if it's a slow news day, it's like, well, the faults are getting worse. Like there's always something. And obviously it's more interesting and more money to be made based on fear rather than being like, it'll be fine. Don't worry about it.
Can I share a story from childhood?
Please, I love that.
About earthquakes. Okay, so when I was in elementary school, we had a teacher in our school was also the mayor of Ladysmith. Shout out Mr. Hutchins.
That never happens unless you only have like 80 people living in a town.
It's real small towns, and he is the best. And he had, I will say, a bit of, I don't know, kind of like flair for the dramatics. And I feel like he was kind of aware of, so yes, he was a teacher, but then he's also involved in politics, and he's kind of like always kind of figuring out ways to promote things, promote the town.
This guy sounds like a real character. I really like him already.
He's the best.
Like, I'm really into this guy.
He couldn't be better. He was honestly, I love that guy. And he's also a family friend. Also very small town.
Oh, nice. Shout out.
Yeah. And anyways, I think he orchestrated this. We did a big earthquake drill, which you do on the West Coast a lot to prep the kids. But ours, he decided to take it to the next level where they got the drama department to kind of get these kids, unbeknownst to the rest of the school. I wasn't involved, so I was like in the dark. But they got these kids to basically, on the day that they knew was going to happen, they put like speakers and things kind of set up around the school that would actually shake the school and create huge sounds of wreckage and chaos. And then these actor students were covered in fake blood. I'm not joking.
This is illegal. This is actually like Dwight from The Office doing the real fire drill. This is terrifying. I can't believe someone actually did this.
So we knew that there was going to be an earthquake drill. We just didn't know the intensity fully.
The extent of it. It's like, oh my God, there's an actual earthquake happening during the
and it was like a full simulation of what it would actually be like. God. And there were kids like screaming and wailing, covered in blood, limbs kind of severed, energy. And we all had to like get under our desks and like get out, and they've flipped over a bus. There's news. I'm not joking.
Oh my God.
I'm not joking. It was so iconic and
this
insane.
Guy's awesome. I want him to be the mayor of Canada. This is amazing.
The mayor of Canada, which is what we have.
That's what we have. We don't have a...
No, it's the mayor of Canada, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, it was so, like, in retrospect, so funny and over the top. And we weren't like... We knew it was going to happen, but I think the extent was like borderline traumatizing in a way that only like the 2000s could be, where it's like there's no repercussions. It's like, just get over it, deal with your trauma later. And we all got like suckers, and then like the city TV news showed up, and we all got to be on the news in this way. That was really exciting.
That's amazing.
It was cool. I loved it.
This is really cool. And you've brought to like even just saying traumatic in the way only the 2000s could be like that. Mm-hmm. It's brought up so many, like, I'm just like flooded with all of those
trauma.
Yeah. All of those types of things I saw when I was a kid that I'm like, you could never show that to someone now. You could, and not in the same way, because I feel like a lot of the experiences people have now on the internet, like they're really kind of, they're desensitized to a point where the desensitization has changed how we perceive like seeing crazy shit or experiencing crazy shit. Yeah. Like, I don't know if you recall, we might not be able to include this but it's so specific to our childhood. Mm-hmm. Do you remember the Pain Olympics?
No.
Okay. The Pain Olympics was a VHS going around when we were kids that did get digitized at one point. And it was a horrible video, the worst video I've ever seen in my life, of someone doing terrible things to their penis. They would like smash it with a hammer, like all these crazy things. And I remember seeing that and being like, oh my God, what? Like, it affected me on such a visceral level. Years and years and years and years and years later, we find out, not only is this fake, this VHS that was being circulated, it was a special effects artist from Canada, from Toronto, I think even, who had made these fake penises to mutilate, to destroy. And it had, I think, scarred a lot of people. Yeah. Because this was before you could even manufacture this kind of thing.
Well, yeah, we had no idea that you could do things that weren't like, we're like, well, if we see it on TV, it's real.
It's real. No, it's real. Like,
there was no media literacy, really.
None.
Yeah.
The house hippo, we thought the baby house hippo was real for, even though they were like, the video itself is like, house hippos aren't real. We're like, well, you just showed me a video of it.
I see him, so,
and I'm not an idiot. Like, that's real.
If there's one thing about me, I'm 10 and I'm not an idiot.
And I'm not an idiot. No, for years now, I've wanted to do like a documentary about this guy, track him down, be like, why did you make that? What the fuck is wrong with you? And also, congratulations. You fucking nailed it, man. It was peak.
You're a part of culture.
You are. You're part of culture. You can't really do it that anymore. Now you can just like generate some terrible thing, I'm sure, and it's whatever. It doesn't matter anymore.
Add it to the list of terrible things that are out there. Yeah.
I'm
it was a specific time for sure, and I definitely don't think that they're doing earthquake drills quite like that anymore.
Flipping a bus? Like, that's amazing.
It was quite camp.
Yeah, it's very camp. This guy sounds hilarious. I picture him at the end, like throwing a feather boa around his neck, being like, gotcha.
He does a death drop. Well, like,
again.
Yeah, it was cool.
We got to track him down. I mean, he's family friend. I want to know what he's up to these days.
You know, he's retired. I think he's a grandfather. Okay, this is also, this is very 2000s. And so it's going to sound weirder than it was then. It wasn't weird then. He is the nicest, most pure, lovely man who just was like a great teacher and a great mayor.
I'm ready for something really weird. He invited you over for a pool party or something?
No, none of that. But his nickname was Huggy Bear.
Gotcha. So I wasn't totally off as far as what the fear was. Huggy Bear is a very specific name for a teacher. Okay. But 2000s, different era.
Well,
we were just learning about boundaries.
We didn't attach meaning to it because there was no meaning in the 2000s.
If anything, Huggy Bear was a great name to have at the time.
Couldn't be more friendly.
Now it's the most terrifying name a teacher could have.
Now it's like, even if there's nothing attached to it, you're going to be arrested.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you should be.
But 2005, you're good.
You're good, baby. Yeah, you can do whatever you want. Wear a nude lip. You could get away with a lot in 2005.
God.
Yeah.
Should we give context to that?
Yeah, I've seen the photos. Michelle has one of my favorite photos of Michelle of all time is 2000s Michelle with a nude lip trying to disappear her lips.
Yeah,
because a kid bullied you?
Nude doesn't even cover it. Okay. The story, I think because I've gone back like, why was I so committed to this look? And I think a boy that I liked in like grade 5 or something looked at me and just kind of an offhand comment that I really took to heart. He went, "Your lips are too big for your face." And then just like carried on with his life. And I internalized this, and it's not even true, but I internalized.
Of course it's not true.
Well, I just mean like, anyways, it was
true to you at the time.
At the time, it was true to me, and I went, and then I got kind of a hyper fixation on the movie Twister, and because my older brother loved that movie, and he showed it to me. Having an older brother is really cool when it comes to movies because you get shown things like The Godfather Part 2 when you're 6, and Jaws, and then you don't have a bath for a year and a half. But he showed me Twister, and I was like, Helen Hunt is the prettiest girl in the world, and she's got a very little lip.
Oh, that's what you saw.
Yeah, and then I kind of was like, well, my lips are too big. So anyways, that's how it manifested, I believe.
She looked like Lord Voldemort. It's like one tone everywhere. Slits. She went for slits.
It was a bad look, ultimately. And I committed to it from, I think, around grade 6. It sort of casually started, but I wasn't really allowed to wear makeup until grade 8. And then once I was allowed to wear a little bit of makeup, it was every day, constantly until grade 12. I think even at prom. And again, I can't stress enough, it's not that it's just a casual nude. It's like an eraser.
No one knew what Michelle looked like all of high school, basically.
I was like a blurry blob. Of a face.
I actually love the pictures though, because they do look so 2000s. And I don't know if you're like, I'm picturing like the denim, I'm picturing the clutch. Like I can see things that maybe aren't even in the photo that I saw.
Yeah. Very heavy black eyeliner. Maybe I'll post a picture to the
Please share with us. I really want to see it. I want to know. I also have so many more questions. Like every time you bring anything up, like again, this is going back to the whole Michelle and I spent time together on set, but we were with all the boys. There's a lot going on. You don't get to really get into it one-on-one with people. Mm-hmm. Why were you only allowed to wear makeup in grade 8? What was that conversation like? Were you like, was it your dad? Was it your mom?
I don't know. I have strict parents, I would say. I was a kid for a long time.
You didn't grow up quick in Ladysmith?
No, I didn't. And we were like playing Barbies up until grade 8, probably. I was like making up dances. I was like not... Boys weren't on the radar.
In grade 8, I was twisting the phone cord. Hey, Anita, can Anita come to the phone? Sup, Anita? Sup, girl? Like I was nasty. Grade 8, I was like the nastiest I could have been. Yeah. I only got better from there. But grade 7 and 8, there was a window where I was like, we were yellow paging the girls in our class, and I was like in charge of like asking to talk to them. Like, what's up, sexy? Like bad. Like no. Like I know. Listen, I know. I was on IM. Like we were on ICQ. And I was like doing the whole. Like, that's all I cared about.
I hate you describing yourself as a child as nasty.
I was nasty. I was wearing Fat Farm shoes, full white tracksuit, breakdancing and calling girls on my landline, my clear landline phone. Gnarly.
That's insane.
And I didn't kiss a single one.
Oh, of course not.
Damn it.
I mean, I was lucky, I think, in that way because I was just young. You know, I was Highland dancing. Like, what can you say? I was busy.
See, and I would have just been calling up like, what's up, girl? How's a Highland dancing?
Show me that
going?
Highland fling, and I would go, and hang up.
How's your turnout?
Ew. So anyways, I think I wasn't pushing for makeup is my point of that. It wasn't like it was like something I was trying to do.
Okay, so you didn't feel repressed. You weren't like, hey.
I have a really good relationship with my parents.
That's awesome. I have a great relationship with my parents now. Yeah. When I was a teenager, man, and the thing is, I didn't drink or smoke either. Yeah. But I was still like, my voice was hoarse all the time from screaming. I feel like we just yelled at each other, like, and I wasn't allowed to say shut up. So I'd be like, shut up. Like, you know what I mean? Like there's still a limit. Like I'm still respectful, but I'm also screaming at you. I would never swear at my parents, but I was like really loud.
But every teenager you're going to, cause it's frustrating because you feel like you've got this on lock and you just so don't.
And no control over your life.
But I do think parents that are like too strict, my parents were strict. I knew the boundaries. I obviously had some problems with them. Occasionally my mom and I would butt heads. I think that's like so standard, but you can't like lock kids inside because it's going to make them want to do the opposite.
Exactly.
Us giving parenting tips.
First of all, my child would agree with me. Dewey, my dog, Bernadoodle, Aussie Bernadoodle.
He loves boundaries.
He
Dogs
does love
do
boundaries.
though.
They
love
more.
A routine and they love a boundary.
Yeah, he needs more boundaries, I think. He sleeps like right on my face.
Yeah, well, because he's the alpha.
He's totally taken over my side of the bed and it's not fair. It's just not fair.
Evan, you need to flip him.
Oh, flip him. He loves it. He's like, flip me, pet my tummy. He loves it. There's no, he doesn't think of me as anything but his bro.
Yeah, you're his litter mate.
I'm his bro. Mm-hmm. That's it. And he's like, he treats me like shit. And that's it.
Well, the best piece of advice I was given from, to bring back to Letterkenny, which we're getting to, guys,
Please. Don't
worry, was Jared. When I first got Clementine as a puppy, he was like, flip her immediately. The first time she does something, or I know she's like this little cutie puppy, but you shove her into the dirt. And I was like, what?
I know, that's
He's
so
like,
dumb.
Shove her into the dirt.
And then
I did it.
Put her snout in your mouth.
Yeah, and like completely overpower and don't let up until she stops wriggling and completely submits to you. And it was the best piece of advice.
Really?
And I got some
You guys
weird,
do that?
Oh yeah.
Looks, you get weird looks for that.
You get weird looks, but it's been the best thing because I am the alpha. Not to brag, but I am the alpha.
You know what? This is where our parenting. Wow, we're really going into this. This is where our parenting style is different. It's like I'm more of like this new age. Like, there are no alphas in our house. Like if I really didn't want him on my side of the bed, like I get him out of there. But I like it. To be honest, he's never been mean to anyone. Never bit anyone.
He's so sweet.
He's well behaved. He's actually extremely like when we're doing training. Mm-hmm. I look like fucking Nate Schomer. I'm out here. I'm like heel, center, up, down. Like he's doing it. But then as soon as we stop, it's like I'm him. We're each other, and we're like just lying on the ground, and like his face is like smushed into my eye. Yeah, like he really is. He's so well, but he's not 2 yet. Even okay. Let's give a little courtesy. He's not even 2 yet.
He's like a silly teen.
He's a stinky, silly teen.
He's pushing the boundaries.
Mm-hmm. I love it. It's so cute. Every time he pushes a boundary, like I'm cooking and he gets up on the counter and looks at me, I'm like, down, stop, and he's like, and he goes down. I'm like, shut up.
I mean, I like to say, I'm not militant over here. Clementine is fully sleeping in the king size bed under the covers on a memory foam.
I love how you're like telling me not to, but you just have a big enough bed to get away with it.
It's more just like, I think with bigger dogs too, especially because she's my first dog as an adult, and I don't know. I just was like really like I need to be able to.
She's what, 70 pounds?
She's more like 60. She's actually kind of little.
Oh, much smaller than I thought. She's
a little lab. Yeah, she's the runt of her litter. How cute is that?
It's very cute, Michelle.
Isn't that cute?
Yeah, it's very cute. Everyone tell her it's cute. God, she's looking.
Sound off in the comments that it's cute. Anyways, we love our dogs, and she's been a good like first stage of growing up.
Yeah,
which shouldn't be the first stage, really. I should have been grown up a lot longer ago, but she's really like leveled up my life in a lot of ways.
Changed having a dog changed Alana and I's entire relationship.
It really,
it makes us have to communicate way better. That's for sure.
And you can't just like, you have to get up and exercise it puts you on a schedule. Mm-hmm. It was the best thing I've ever done. If anyone listening is thinking about getting a dog and they really want to, and their life because it is expensive, and there's things like you have to be kind of ready for it, but also just do it. It'll level you up. It'll make you responsible and ready.
You know what's tricky though is like definitely dog is cool. Puppy is so brutal. I honestly don't know if I'd ever do a puppy. I wouldn't do a puppy again, to be honest.
See, I'm so far away from, because Clementine just turned 6 that now tricked. I'm like, I want to get a puppy.
It was the worst.
I agree. But I told myself that it's because I was in an apartment that didn't have easy access to outdoor space. I had to walk up and down stairs all night, and it was like hell. But now that I've got a house with a backyard, I'm like, a puppy would be no problem. But that's
I don't know about no problem. Yeah, waking up every 2 hours at night to carry it outside to pee. The noises it makes in the crate while it learns how to be a good puppy and sleep through the night. Like,
yeah, I know.
Oh, brother. He sounded like a goose being stepped on for like 2-3 months. It was like, it's like, it's driving me crazy.
No, it's full on.
And you feel nuts because everyone else treats the puppy as if it's the coolest, cutest thing in the world, and you can't see it anymore.
I know. You're like, do I hate you?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like I questioned it a lot. I was like, did I make the biggest mistake of my life?
Oh, me too.
So many times.
Me too. And I wish that people had talked to me about that. And I remember calling my friend Kara. I FaceTimed her and I was like, she's just like following me around and staring at me. And Kara's like, babe, she's a little puppy. She's obsessed with you. I'm like, yeah, she's obsessed with me. I was like pissed.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, get a fucking life. Go do something else.
And now I'm like obsessed with Clementine in this way that, again, I'm shocked this is one of the first
you're
times.
You're obsessed with Clementine?
I know, but the podcast might not know that because we've been so good about not talking about our dogs in fear.
It's almost like we had like HR, like coaching. Like we had like
media training about
media training. Like don't talk about the dog in the first 5 episodes.
Stupid and nuts and boring. God, it's boring to talk about your dog.
Yeah, should we change the subject?
Let's change. Let's get back into Letterkenny. The reason we're here.
So, one of the big things on Letterkenny that the Skids weren't allowed to do is we weren't allowed to come to Puppy Day.
Yeah. Okay. What a gorgeous transition. So on Letterkenny, every season, Jared's a dog lover. If you don't know that, I'm not sure if you've ever watched the show. He is a huge dog lover. And so he has written into every single season a day where there are puppies on set to usually join in the cold open. Mm-hmm. That's just something that he wanted selfishly. And like, it's also such good like morale boosting for cast and crew on set to have a litter of little baby puppies, a different breed every season. And I'm so sorry.
Sure,
Evan,
sounds fun.
I know. I usually got to, it was, days when we were at the farm 9 times out of 10 and I'd get to spend time with these little puppies.
Sounds really fun. I never got to, I was going to say the only animal I got to work with was Tyler, but
well,
we really, and there was horse day. We had horses, which was really fun. I like the horses.
Nice. Yeah.
But like, yeah, we never got to play with the little German Shepherd puppies.
They were so stinky. Actually, Jared just messaged me the other day. He like sent me like, you know how memories will just come up on your phone? Yeah. He'll like, anytime that happens, he'll send me one and I'll send him one because we have so many photos of that time. And the one that I sent him was him holding the little German Shepherd puppy from I think season 3. And he was like, do you remember how stinky they were? And they weren't just puppy breath. They smelled like urine, like as if they'd been soaked in urine, but then also
maybe they were scared or transported in a weird way or something.
I don't know. I don't think it was like abuse energy, but it was puppies are smelly and their breath is really stinky.
They're all pissing on each other too, trying to like establish dominance. Like it's like weird stuff going on there.
Exactly.
The litter with a true litter.
Yeah.
Oh man, I want to see that photo.
It was really cute. Yeah, they were so sweet. I remember one season we had Cane Corso puppies. I find Cane Corsos a little scary and huge and like.
If you didn't think a King Corso was a little bit scary, you have no instincts.
Right.
Like your human instincts have been bred out of you. Because if you don't think a dog that weighs 200 pounds with pure muscle and like the eyes of a killer, but they're so sweet. I love every King Corso I've ever met. I've loved.
Oh, so
I just worked with one who attacked me in the movie that I did.
Oh,
and it was to get it to attack me, quote unquote. It's like
hard.
Its tail's wagging like crazy. It's so happy, and I'm like, no, I'm screaming, and it's checking on me, like licking my face because it's worried.
Oh my god!
It's like, stop it.
That's so cute. They're adorable puppies. Oh my gosh.
They're so cute.
Yeah, it was the season when we were doing the Crock and Egg show. And so we were in the studio the whole time and they came in. And I have a very cute video of Jared getting like lying on the ground and having all these puppies just like walking all over him and him giggling like a schoolgirl. It's very cute.
He does get into a giggle fit sometimes.
Well, who doesn't over little puppies? They're so cute.
Yeah, but you don't expect Jared to get into it. You expect him to giggle the way he giggles.
Yeah, and like rolling around giggling.
He's a giggler. Mm-hmm. He's a wrestler and a giggler, which is why he likes his dogs to be kind of tough and fun to wrestle. Like always this kind of half pit type thing. Like I don't even know what kind of dogs they are. They're always some sort of mutt, but they're strong. They're strong dogs.
You like to wrestle a dog too.
I love to wrestle a dog. That's another thing that I've had to work. I mean, we're going back into our dogs. That's one thing I've had to work out of Dewey is that letting him know when the wrestling match is done, like we have to be very strict about it. Because like when I get into it, like he fights and we fight. Like I put his neck in my mouth and we're like, and I'm holding him down and he like gets free and then he jumps on top of my head and it's like, it's so intense. He's so strong. Mm-hmm. but I love it. I love a fight.
Clementine's a lady, so we don't really do that.
But like, do you think our dogs would get along? Because like, what if we go on tour for like this? What if we go tour our show and we live on a bus together?
Plot twist for the fans. They just heard our secret plan.
Yeah. Are we going to bring our dogs on the on the bus?
If we do a tour bus for sure.
Dewey's so well, but he loves other dogs.
Oh, and so does Clementine. And she loves a rambunctious boy because it kind of, it brings out like her wild side. And she's just like, oh yeah, she'll love that. Yeah,
and he's fixed, so he's not going to do anything too weird.
Too weird. Get him away from her. Okay, this is great. Well, back to Letterkenny. I will say, so we're going to just sort of recap how we feel about the season because it's been a trip to watch it. I have so many thoughts. And also, I guess I would start with a question to you, Evan.
Mm-hmm.
Season 1, I mean, what was your standout episode or something that surprised you? I kind of know what you're going to say because it's probably similar to mine.
Well, I mean, I think you're going to go for Fart Book, but to be honest, I think the thing that surprised me the most about the show is how much I liked it. Yeah. I guess I didn't expect to like Letterkenny as much as I did. I was always kind of keeping it at arm's length as like, because I'm like, I can't be a fan of the thing I work on. Right. But after watching the full first season in like, you know, giving it a week between each episode, like kind of old school, how we used to watch TV, I'm like, God damn. Good television. And the final episode, the finale that we just recorded, it wraps up so nicely. So I'm actually going to go ahead and say I liked the finale.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you're acting in projects, I understand being like, I don't want to attach myself to the end product because that can't be the point, because that's sort of attached to ego or just, you know, you want to be mindful of that stuff. But it's also really important to be proud of the work you do. And especially on a show like Letterkenny, where it's such an ensemble, it's not like it's just us as the lead carrying the show. Like, I think watching it has always, because this would be the second time that I've seen it, and the first time being when it just came out. So it has been
like
a long
decade
time
ago.
Yeah. But I was always actually able to watch Letterkenny in a different way because I was so proud of the work that everybody else was doing. And then when I came in to participate, it felt like I could separate it a little bit more. You know?
That's so nice. I do know exactly what you're talking about. That's a really good way of putting it. Like being proud of everybody else first is definitely the entry point. And then now watching it later, I'm way more disconnected from the work that I did, I guess. And it's like, I know we talked about this with Jacob, but like the Christmas episode, like I was like a little like, oh, Evan, what are you doing? But at the same time, I could just enjoy it. I could just sit back and be like, yeah, I could have a beer with these guys and laugh.
Totally. Yeah, totally. And it's also been so long that it's going to be cool to see how we've all, as you do, evolve your craft over time, and like those little like nuanced choices, what stays, what goes, what gets more intense, certainly for you guys, because you really, I mean, this is just the beginning. I'm so excited.
It's just the beginning. I think that's what we got to come back to is like we finished 6 episodes plus a special of it so far, and we've got a lot of show left.
We have so much show left, which is very fun. Yeah, I mean, I feel like obviously Fart Book really surprised me because I had pretty much blocked it out. And then I think the kind of overall thing that I'm the most impressed by with Letterkenny in general for season 1 is how much lore was established so early on in a way that it didn't need time to find its footing. And I'm sure Jacob would disagree because he was on the other side, or Jared
so too.
Well, yeah, and Jared too. It's like they're from a totally different perspective of it, of course.
We'll have to ask Jared. We'll have to get him on here and talk about it.
I can't wait to ask him. But for me, I'm like, oh, this show really knew what it was right off the hop. And even like the way that it's kind of politically aligned, and we don't need to like go too far, but I think Letterkenny always presented, and some people would think that it was one way when in fact the heart and the nuance and just how kind of progressive the show actually is without attempting to hit anybody over the head or like teach you a lesson. That was always so present, and it kind of it happens so naturally in a way that is like really easy to consume.
Yeah, it's like your friends talking about something. It's like just like it's like, oh, like, you know, we're actually having a discussion about stuff.
Right. It's like it's asking questions. It's not teaching.
Yeah.
And the Wayne character is always kind of in the center of that dichotomy of being like, like in the Christmas episode, for example, with Tanis's gift, it's like it brings up these kind of feminist questions and caricatures of like what a woman should be in a way that isn't heavy-handed, and it kind of like rebalances. Like we're allowed to ask these questions, we're allowed to have pushback, and then we're allowed to kind of just settle it and move forward as well.
Yeah.
You know?
It doesn't have to be the main focus of anything. It is really just incorporated into the entire show in such a lovely little way.
Yeah. And that's always been like a point of pride for me when I'm like, you know, if somebody makes an assumption about the show, I'm like, you actually just should watch it.
Never seen it. It's interesting. I know for a fact you've never seen it if that's what you think.
Exactly. Yeah. The sort of standouts for me in season 1 were hockey. Actually.
Yeah, they're great in it.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah. And I can't wait to talk to them about it. But I was like really impressed with the work they did in season 1. Obviously, I would say Lisa just came in so hot and so fun and added such an interesting energy to the show too. I mean, always throughout the whole series, but like, thank God we had her playing that character.
Yeah. I don't know who else could have done that. I just can't think of another person who could have brought what Lisa brought to that role. It's like when you think of characters who exist just only in that one, like it's like a new archetype. Like she just invented a concept for a character that I've never seen before. And she just knocks it out of the park. We should get Lisa on for next season just to talk about a bit about just Gail. I want to hear everything about Gail. I want to know the whole like what the first inkling was that this is what Gail was going to be like. Because I know she's since worked on like a lot of other projects and has done such different characters. Like I've seen her on a couple of different things recently, and she's like a straight-laced cop or like a, you know, just like really not Gail.
She was a cop in The Handmaid's Tale.
Oh yeah, there you go. I want to know where Gail came from. We gotta figure this out. We gotta get to the bottom of it.
Yeah, and I'm interested just also as an actor to understand her process a little bit more because I've obviously I know Lisa and we've had like lots of chats and stuff, but I don't know. On set I'm never like, what's your process?
No, because it's the worst thing you can ask an actor. That's crazy. Like her process might actually be just like dump a bag of snakes into her pants and just have them going around constantly, and she just delivers the lines like trying not to let them get out.
A little insider story, like industry story rather. When I did El Camino Christmas, I worked with Vincent D'Onofrio, who was
more sugar water.
Yeah, in Men in Black, he was Earl.
I
think Earl. Yeah. So
spoiler alert: he's a giant bug.
He's a bug. If you haven't seen Men in Black, I don't know what to tell you. But
it's like wearing an Egger suit.
Yeah, an Egger. Okay, he's Egger, and then so he played the alien, and when I worked with him on set, Men in Black was like so formative for me as a kid. That's one of my favorite all-time movies. Again, an older brother brought this into my life, of course. And I was like, after a few days of set and us like chatting, he was a lovely, lovely guy, and I'm a big fan of his work. But I didn't want to enter with Men in Black because I'm sure he gets asked this all the time. But I had to eventually be like, how did you do that? And he's like, and he just fully gave me the story. He was like, so the director, who I'm actually forgetting the name of who directed Men in Black, but he's the kind of director who just really hires his actors and trusts them to make whatever choice. Like he doesn't get involved in how they create characters. He just sort of lets them live, and he trusts like the casting process. And so Vincent arrived on set and he was trying to figure out like, okay, how do I play a bug? Like, how do I do bug movements? And he was practicing at home and it wasn't really hitting for him. So then all of a sudden the Paralympics were on and he saw people running in leg braces. And he went, oh, I wonder if it should be like I'm kind of like the way that they were moving sort of clicked off something in his brain where he's like, I need to be somebody who's having difficulty moving like a human. So I'm going to put a bunch of braces, not just on my legs, but on my arms, on my torso, so that I'm really constricted. And so that when I'm trying to make like quote unquote normal moves, I'm met with resistance. So everything is uncomfortable. And he just like didn't tell anyone and just arrived on set in these head to toe braces and did his first take. And all of a sudden the voice just came out of this movement.
He's so constricted because it's like his chest
so
is
uncomfortable.
Tight. Wow.
And then the director is like, okay, cut. And just kind of walked over. And he was like, is that what you're going to do?
It's like a Jacob move. So
yeah.
that's what
And
you're
Vincent
doing.
was like, yeah, I think that's gonna, he's like, you're going to do the voice? And Vincent's like, yeah, I mean, if that's fine. And the director's just like, okay. and just walked away. And Vincent was like, I think that means it's working. And then he just,
wow.
So I don't know. It's like,
it's such a swing. It's such a swing.
It's such a swing, but it's so brilliant. Like
it's
like
going to live forever as a character.
It's so good. If you guys haven't watched that movie, go back and watch it with that in mind. Because like his physicality in that movie, it doesn't make sense.
No, that's like so Andy Serkis level, Gollum level physicality. Like something's happening there that's special that I'm so glad to know that that's how it was achieved, because it makes so much sense that it can't be achieved through just like, I'm just going to stand and walk in a certain way. It's like he did something to manipulate his body, his breathing in such a way that like, and that plus they like pale out his skin in that very specific way. The gray, the makeup department just crushes it on that movie.
It's so good.
And
it's
the
like
costuming.
Hanging.
It's so specific. And then her reaction to him, there's something about that sequence.
So funny.
She's perfect. It's so fun. The show, more sugar.
Yeah.
More sugar. Like it kills me I want to go back and watch Men in Black now. It's one of my first movie experiences in theaters was Men in Black and Twisters at the drive-in, actually.
Oh my
and so I have
cute.
So many fond memories of Men in Black. And like,
Men in Black.
Perfect movie.
I mean, Will Smith, is there anyone more charismatic than Will Smith in Men in Black? I
so
don't think
charming.
So.
It's like you cannot, the dragging, the egg chair and the table.
What a good film. What a good watch.
Yeah, we gotta watch that again.
My point of bringing this up is like, it's always interesting because I think you're playing a bug per se, or you're playing a horny, you're a bartender, and you can kind of so easily lean into tropes or things that have already been done before. But it's like, how do you find your own original take on something is half the battle when creating a character. And it's something that is just a good reminder for all of our choices as actors, really.
And I doubt Lisa was covered in braces under her clothes, but
you know what? Snakes in her pants.
Snakes in her pants, but maybe she was. We're going to have to get to the bottom of it, because I'm sure there's some story.
Maybe she saw something. I just am like interested how that came, or maybe who knows?
She saw Animal Planet and saw a tiger stalking a gazelle and was like, I am a tiger. Like the movements, like that's a really good point. I think acting is one of those things that like we can get very heady, very analytical, very, like what's your motivation? But at the end of the day, sometimes it's just something as wild as like a little physical alteration, a little costume that makes you choked up in a certain way, so you speak a certain way.
Yeah, and finding like a different approach when everything's been done before and it's so hard to be original. And what Lisa accomplished was an original performance, which is really special.
Super original.
Yeah. Good for her.
Hey, thanks, Lisa Codrington. We appreciate you.
Thank you for your brilliance, girl. Yeah, no, season 1 was so bizarre to watch and also really fun to watch. And yeah, I can see why people really, like you guys listening, you were so instantly on our side and like advocates for the show in a way that was really like, I don't know, it wasn't expected. And it made us get a second season. Like you guys are genuinely the only reason.
Yeah, we thought we were making just a follow-up web series to the first web content, basically, is what it felt like. Yeah. Like it was like when they had their little YouTube channel and then we were just doing like a 6-episode tester, just a little web series thing, kind of basically.
Yeah, literally.
It was going to a new streaming service no one had ever heard of. Like it was still called Crave TV back then and it was orange.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
It was different. It didn't even like work properly. Like you took to watch the shows. Like people were bootlegging copies of Letterkenny though, because somehow the word got out and people were bootlegging copies. This was like when torrents were popular.
Yeah, true. And so many people, okay, this is also, I remember somebody telling me, a guy who was like in the military, he said when he was overseas, somebody had torrented Letterkenny because they needed physical copies of like anything that they had, like any VHS or DVD or whatever would get absolutely rinsed and passed around the whole base because they all wanted things to watch and listen to while they're over there. That reminded them of home. And Letterkenny somehow got onto this base and it just spread. And then people traveling all over the world would take it with them and torrent it and spread it. And I'm like, I wonder if that's part of the reason why we have like an international audience for this very Canadian show.
Yeah, it's like a paperback novel getting into someone else's library system, and then it's just getting kind of. That's so cool. I haven't heard that story before, but it makes so much sense.
Yeah,
like the DVD portion of it and like the torrenting portion of it was incredibly important for our success to be able to get renewed for 3-4 seasons at a time.
Crazy that torrenting actually helped our show.
Oh, it's almost like people watching the thing and enjoying it is the most important part.
Makes you think, doesn't it? Doesn't it? Yeah, I mean, I guess as far as like season 1 takeaways, I mean, is there anything else that like stood out to you?
I mean, standout, it's like really clean. One of the other standouts is that, like you said in the finale, it's like it could have ended there. It could have just been 6 episodes. That could have been what we made. And then we could have all gone on to do other things and had made some nice friends. And that would have been it, maybe. You know, sometimes you do a movie, you do 1 season of a show. You're like, these are my new best friends. But then it doesn't last.
I never feel that way, but okay.
Oh, really? Okay. It feels like that to me every time I get on a new set. I'm like, you're my best friend.
It takes me 10 years to actually trust someone.
Well, to make actual lasting friendships, right? Like now, I look back on that and I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe how much was created in that one little summer. Summer.
And we didn't even get into like the party stories, will, like we have so much more.
We should just bring Hersey on to just talk about parties as like an episode.
An SRO.
And just getting kicked out of SRO multiple times.
We need to, so SRO was a club in Sudbury, shout out, called Standing Room Only that we frequented season 1, season 2, like every single weekend. And then until we weren't basically like able to go anymore for a plethora of reasons that we'll get into on Spare Parts season 2. Because God, we have so much more. Like, that's the thing with all of our little stories. Like, it's almost overwhelming, but
we have to crack it somehow. We have to get into. We have to get.
I know we have to face
to talk
the
about
nightlife. We have to face the Letterkenny nightlife because it's a huge part of our story.
I don't know if there's anyone to do it better with than Hersey, though. To be honest, I think he might be the person to do it for us because he's the one who, in my opinion, he both looks back on that time in a way that's fond maybe, but also very realistic. Like he can really, even though he was maybe blackout for half of it, I think he has a lot of memories.
Oh yeah.
of those nights.
And I have a lot of memories of Hersey. I mean, he is so funny.
He's still out in that nightlife. Let's be real.
Paris, Texas.
Texas. If you want to find Andrew,
he's gonna hate that we said that,
dude. Nadine sent me a message the other day. She was like, "You guys talked about Paris, Texas twice on the."
We did,
yeah, like episode 2 or something. Because we had just seen the Justin Timberlake concert, and everyone went to Paris, Texas after or whatever. And I didn't go, but I was like, "Oh, I was there the week before with Hersey as well." And you were like, "Ew, what?"
Yeah. Why are we bringing it up again? We're giving him a lot of
of press. Well, we're not good press though. I mean, this isn't like.
Yeah, we don't like it there.
Yeah,
we'll go.
I mean, I'll go again. I'll be there again for sure. I'll take the booth if you offer it to me.
I think something fun that we should do for the Spare Parts Instagram is share some season 1 pictures that we have. Just like a little assortment just to kind of like capture it and put a little pin in it. But we have so much more to talk about. And we will, because we're really excited to get into season 2 with you guys. I think for this episode, we just want to do a recap. So we might leave Spare Hearts just for this one time, just because this feels like a bit of a Letterkenny focus.
Oh, we're not even doing a Spare Hearts for this one. Interesting. I thought I thought we were going to do 4 questions for Spare Hearts, but I like where your head's at with this as well. See, this is how Michelle and I work. We are by the seat of our pants. We figure it out as we go.
We keep each other on our toes.
I am excited to talk about the potential for the podcast. I want to reiterate that we are working on a video portion and we know how important it is for you guys because we see every comment that says, give us a video. We will do that. We are working on it. It is imminent.
It is.
It is imminent.
Yeah. And we've got a lot of really fun, exciting things planned. So stay tuned for more information when we can share. But, for this kind of the punctuation of season 1, we'll be back next week. Don't worry, we're coming back. But we just wanted to thank everybody for being so supportive so far and sharing with your friends. It's such a great way to get this podcast out there. Rating, subscribing, all of that stuff. You guys have been so supportive and we really appreciate it. And it's made it so much fun for us to feel like we're connecting with you guys too.
Totally. I just want to give a special shout out to the Letterkenny Reddit. I know you guys have been super active with the podcast, talking about episodes, talking about things you've heard on the episodes. So thank you for doing that. That is very exciting. I'll drop into the Reddit sometimes and I'll see someone talking about, a specific thing we mentioned on the podcast, how there's those extra scenes at the end of some episodes. And they're like, what? Where do you find these? And I'm like, oh, they're listening. They're out there. It's nice to know you're listening. Thanks for letting us know.
Yeah, it's really great. And we can't wait to start season 2 next week. And Evan, as always, so great to chat.
So great to chat.
Love you, buddy.
Love you. Bye.